That'll remind
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to a town board meeting. Please rise and we'll pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we get right into it, I'd like a motion to approve the minutes from the board meeting of July 9th.
So
Moved by Rick, seconded by Dick. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Carries. I'd like to welcome at this time our economic. What do you want me to call you tonight?
get it right.
Yeah,
Whatever you'd like.
come on up and introduce yourself to these folks and,
It's on the sheet, Derek, just read it.
yeah.
Get it right
There
this
we
time.
go.
Of course. I think they're.
So I am the director, Adam DeSantis, and I'm the director of economic development. And was invited back tonight to introduce myself again and to provide an update. As most of you know, this position was created out of the DNP committee plan that was done several years ago. And identified really housing as the core issue that impacts the economic vitality and opportunities for this town. And so much of my initial focus has been on just that, on evaluating the housing issue and trying to determine solutions that are appropriate for the scale of the town and are what's desired by the community members who live here. And so I have a housing project that I'm working on now. It is in its preliminary stages. We are at a kind of delicate point of negotiation, so I hesitate to give too much detail. But it is, the direction of it is being informed through my involvement in the on the comp plan steering committee and the feedback that we're receiving as we go through that process. So the goal for the housing project and some other opportunities that are being looked at is that they will reflect the desires of the community, as you know, opinions have been formed and shared in that comprehensive plan update. So I think that's been exciting to work on, and I'm glad I've been able to be involved in the steering plan process. Other exciting opportunity that we're working on is the North Elba DRI, the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. Round 8 was just announced by the governor the beginning of last week. There have been some substantive changes to the grant opportunity. But we are, that's a $10 million revitalization grant that goes towards public and private projects. So we're looking at those. We have a meeting.
Do you have to be a pro-housing community?
You have to be a pro-housing community. Yes, you do. And
we both are now.
well, yeah, and the question is what that I have not received a definitive answer yet, and changes our positioning and strategy for the grant a bit, is that it's do you have to have received the designation, or can you have started the application process to become pro-housing? Those are very different, and so we're working to get the answers to those. Once we, but being that we are, that certainly clears any roadblocks for our ability to apply for the grant. We were hoping that being one of the relatively fewer communities that have become pro-housing, it would give us a competitive advantage. If the bar is only that you need to have started that process, that advantage will be something less than what we had anticipated. But obviously still very worthwhile continuing to pursue the grant opportunity.
Is the housing development that's in the works, is it workforce housing? Is it low income housing?
So
Or hasn't that been identified?
no, I think it's a great question. My eye towards housing is that we need to create opportunities, whether they're new build or they're infill opportunities or they're rehab. That are focused on the area of greatest need now, which is, community members who are, work at the municipal level, who are nurses, who are school teachers. And so, I view that as kind of middle income housing. It would likely not be a low income housing tax credit that I'm working on.
So it would be a vernacular workforce.
It would be workforce housing or, something that would be in that, 100 to 200% of AMI. I've been meeting with the large employers in the area to include the Central School, Florida, NICEF, some of the hoteliers, starting conversations. I want to speak with Eric and the mayor as well to start the conversation around what their needs are and what they're experiencing. A lot of the information that I get is anecdotal. It's great to sit down and have those conversations to really understand, what are the challenges, what do they think the opportunities are, and how can some of, what I'm working on be tailored towards their specific needs.
So naturally, the end of the story is, are you finding them financially feasible?
The housing projects?
Sure.
I think there are, it's cost is one of the biggest barriers that we're faced with up here. You drive 2 hours south and the cost of new construction on a per square foot basis is, significantly discounted. So we are looking at modular options, some other opportunities that are we think are innovative, that are where we're gonna be able to control cost. And that's certainly one of the biggest hurdles that we face.
Like free land or help with infrastructure, things that typical developers don't have to.
It's whatever we can do to buy down the total cost of a project is gonna, we can, leverage that to incentivize developers to come in and give competitive bids on projects. And so that's where we're trying to frame these opportunities in that light. Continuing along the grants that I've been working on, I worked with LPCA on their Pro Housing Community Grant. I believe you're all aware of that. Really excited about that opportunity. That was a pool of money that was created for communities that had received that designation. Speaking with Emily, there wasn't immediate alignment in the timeframe for a project on the town level, and because there was a placemaking carve out for that grant, LPCA seemed like a great recipient of that grant fund, and I hope that they're successful. I think it'd be a great resource for the community. There's some economic development that's tied to that. We'd love to see them successful in their request.
Can either of you talk to the actual scope of that project, cause it's huge? No?
Yeah, it is a huge project. It's been a while since I've looked at what the scope is. When I met with John and with James most recently, they were, and this goes back a couple of months, they were getting their construction bids, or at least they were imminent in coming in, so I haven't seen where those came in, but I know that this. They're looking to do have a big summer and fall of fundraising. And I think being able to add this grant in would be a significant step closer for that project to get out of the ground.
Yeah, so I have a little bit of intel, so we, as you know, probably it is now a renovation, it's no longer construction,
Yeah.
right? And they have $11 million secured. And their plan is to start in the spring of 25, and I think we open in 2027. And so this is their final push, and they're confident that they're gonna be on track for
Good.
that.
Could this be a segue? Do you wanna talk at all about the restore? That was just received?
Okay, which actually, now that I see Adam in person, I'm assuming that you knew that got awarded.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's good news for us. But I feel like we already talked about it at a town board meeting or at a workshop.
Probably a workshop.
So the project was, the Hurley building, the former fuel sale building was awarded $250,000 for rehab. of 4 units. On the right-hand side of the building, the left-hand side of the building will remain as is for some other future use. So that is in the works and that covers probably about 50% of the project cost.
Has he made his decision?
He has not,
Okay,
unless he told Haley, but I haven't heard from him in a week probably.
that's good news.
Good.
Good, but hopefully, so going back to when the towns started talking about the DRI, that's like, we are meeting. This week, but I won't be there. The first meeting of the committee and Bill is on that committee, and so I think that will help entice him to move forward with that project too, because it will most likely encompass that part of town. And connecting town more to the railroad.
Yeah, it would be a great project in that corridor. It'd be exciting to see and based on his where he's positioning it. From the rent structure, it's focused at that and the middle income workers, so it's a very exciting project.
No, go ahead.
No, and the last thing I wanted to touch on was just working with new business opportunities. Leads come in through the visitor center, they come in through the town and other business owners and so I've been spending time, there's a wellness experience operator that's looking to get a new business off the ground. They've got a production facility in over in Vermont. Along with a number of sites that have been very successful over there, so they're excited about looking at this market. Been working with them for a couple of months and hopefully we'll have more information in the next several months anyways about what their plans are. But that's certainly one of the more concrete leads that have come in, but it certainly seems to me to be a value to be able to respond in a timely fashion to these inquiries and really be an advocate for new businesses starting in North Elba.
That's great. You're off to a good running start. Certainly I should leave an open invitation. Anytime you have updates for us. We're the second Tuesday of every month. The board may say, Doty, you gotta cut 6 items out of the agenda.
No, we can just soon hear from you, that's okay.
Okay, all right.
It's okay.
That sounds great, I appreciate that. And Dan wanted to be here tonight as well. He had a prior commitment, but he looks forward to coming
We'll corner
and
him
chatting with
soon.
you as well. Yeah, he expected as much, but he has the right to say so.
Good deal.
All right,
Many thanks.
Thank you.
thank you all.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda, is a request from the Carrolls, for a wedding that's coming up. And they just wanna sneak by the noise ordinance by a half an hour. It's really a formality, sorry, everything you had to go through for this.
Well, they're not here for the town windows?
But I'm sure you're getting to know all your neighbors all the better.
Yeah.
So if you mix that first drink right and the band is good, it'll all be great. In any respect, everything's in line, and unless you have questions for us, you satisfied everything? I'm kind of embarrassed that we had to come here and in person. But we're happy to grant your request and hope it's a great day.
Wait,
Thank you
just-
very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Terry. Nice to see you.
It
Go ahead.
goes both ways.
Did everything get noticed? Like, that's a question for you.
Yes,
Okay, that was my only question.
I have all the documentation on the
And
notices that
no one said anything.
No.
Okay,
Should we make a motion
yeah.
to?
Yes.
I'll take a motion to the noise ordinance request to be extended a half an hour. So moved from Jason, seconded by Rick. Any further discussion?
No.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good to see you all.
It was a third of our audience. Stay if you want.
Next up, Glenn, come on up, give us a little update on Beta. Probably with, let's say, a little emphasis on, your, setting up things for the UCI bike event.
Well, I'm happy to cover that also, but I also wanna let you all know how the money that you contributed this spring was put to use, so.
That sounds great.
I'm very Your copy has photos that are not very good because our printer died, so
That's all right.
yeah, the rest of you have.
Listen anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, just as a reminder, you did award $25,000 in the spring for heavy maintenance at Craigwood. So that we could stop band-aiding some of the problems that we had out there. We committed to providing $8,000 in matching, and I'm happy to say that both, one, we blew the doors off that, so we provided almost 16,000 in match to raise the total project close to the $40,000 range. And the results, as you can see in some of the photos, were outstanding. I included testimonials at the end from both primarily residents, but also some visitors to the area. And the feedback that we've gotten is that riding at Craigwood now is infinitely better than it had been. Not that it was bad before, but it's infinitely improved. And one aspect that when I came to you, I said it would be a stretch goal, that was to develop reroutes from Birdsong Way up to Craigwood to make it more accessible for riding directly from downtown. That actually, because we brought the additional money to the table, those did occur. And so now folks who previously said they rode from downtown one time and found the straight up the Jackrabbit Trail to be not enjoyable. Now folks are much more excited about just riding straight from downtown. In fact, one of these testimonials talks about somebody who lives really close by, and they just go out and ride up and down a few times and they never did that before.
Okay.
So
That's great news.
yeah, so I believe that you should be very satisfied with the results of the investment that you made here. This wasn't just maintenance. Maintenance is something that Beta does routinely. This was really revitalizing that area, so.
Did
thank you very
the
much.
heavy rains recently?
Had no, I was going to include a photo of that, essentially no impact. I was actually out there on Friday looking at some different issues. It was perfect, no damage, so.
And the signage, Bill, were you able to tackle the signage? Because you had mentioned that like up under the trail. or
Yeah,
something
for the gold jacket, green jacket, we've enhanced the signage that's up there for those at this point. Other areas we're working on that it'll be done before the UCI race that will have additional signage. But the safety issues have all been addressed.
Okay.
It wasn't an issue, this enhanced signage for safety has all been addressed.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
And the downtown event?
Sure.
Okay, and so the other thing that I just wanted to bring up is, we've been, Beta has been part of the stakeholder group with the UCI World Cup Mountain Bike Race that will be held at Mount Van Hoevenberg. We saw an opportunity or a gap in that all of the planning has been for Mount Van Hoevenberg, the village, everything was in activating at Mount Van Hoevenberg. And we really wanted this to be a celebration that would involve the town and the village also. And so we have proposed to the village and it was accepted that we're gonna put on an event on Friday evening of that day, of that weekend. It's gonna include a band, it'll be at Mids Park. And it's going to include what I believe is called the Clock parking lot, the one right next to Starbucks. The lower Clock parking lot, we're gonna have a BMX demo team come down from Montreal. And they're gonna put on a few different performances for the audience right down there. If you're not familiar with BMX mountain or BMX cycling, it is like extreme athletic aerobatic version.
Is this the group that's been here previously?
They have been here, they were here for Celebrate Barbecue.
The barbecue festival, they were very, very entertaining. Very good.
Yes, and we also will have part of the upper parking lot for this to be able to view. So it's gonna give a spectacular opportunity to watch because you'll be able to look directly out at the athletes in the air.
So you're not like, you're thinking the MBT lot.
Right,
Right,
that's not the clock,
MBT,
that's not
there's
the
two
clock.
tier.
Sorry,
Right, I was
It
gonna
is,
say, that's a
it is
very
the
small-
two-tier,
yeah.
it is the two-tier
Yeah,
that is,
we call it the MPT lot.
okay,
Yeah.
The black lot's the other one.
It's the tiny one right next to Starbucks. I was like, well, that would have been.
Blocking it.
You know, I was like,
Yeah,
I was gonna say, that must have been really good.
They go right up, they
Yeah, I was
go
like,
right
hey.
down.
Hey,
Yeah, no,
No more night.
it's the lot that, the upper portion of it will be accessed off of Marcy. So we'll close the village has agreed to close the lower lot, the ramp, and a section of the upper lot.
okay.
So we'll have a band at this park. We will have a few performances of the BMX. We're gonna have just a small assortment of local businesses that'll be on display, that'll have tents set up, like the bike shops, that kind of thing. And we're super excited about it. We're gonna be encouraging people to cycle in to try to minimize the impact on parking, and we will have a bike ranch where people can check their bikes in,
Okay,
that will have completely fenced off, and we will maintain that.
Where will
But
the vendors with their 10x10s or whatever, where will they be?
At the top of Mids Park in that
Okay.
open space, keeping the sidewalk open, but taking that concrete area.
So
And it
the
would be in the
road,
parking lot or whatever, yeah.
the road is not being closed.
That is correct. Road's not affected. We've worked with Chief,
Dobson.
thank you, Dobson, on what, you know, to provide him with what crowd control will look like.
And it's a 1-day event.
That's great. It's actually from roughly 4 PM to 7 PM. Dark or sunset is like 6:50 that day, so we'll be wrapped up by then. So it's a quick hit. We're not doing food, we're not doing beverages. The idea is to bring people in from, it's to celebrate with the community. And to bring spectators, to get them out of Mount Van Hoevenberg, to get them in downtown Lake Placid, get them to visit the shops, the restaurants, and the pubs.
I think it's such a great idea to integrate the community. Because as you know, we get varying opinions on more events. This is just a great way to let someone be introduced to this mountain bike, because there's a 3-year contract.
Yeah.
And so my hat's off to you.
And they're not
Yes.
scooters going down the opposite direction of the road.
Really?
So it's-
With 4 people on each one.
Yeah, yeah.
Glenn, I assume you're in contact with Kathy, so we can get all the paperwork done, so.
Yeah.
Good.
Because this is my follow-up question, there was a financial ask for a contribution for this event from us, right?
Yes,
Leave? You're gonna tell me, Arda, what are you gonna tell me?
no, it is the remainder of our volunteer appreciation money
Okay,
from the LP.
Some other organization.
Yeah, that one.
but it's been budgeted for.
Yes,
Okay.
and the amount, I assume, and Kathy's on, I don't know if she'll remember the exact amount, but it's just over $8,000.
Okay.
Yep, which will go total to a community event, which fits our mission statement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like Derek said, thank you for bringing people away from Hoevenberg. Instead of thinking that that's it, just stay there.
Yeah, no, that's not what we want when folks come to visit this area, and that message was coming across loud and clear, and I didn't want. This is the first really big mountain bike event here, and I don't want anyone to think that mountain biking is interferes with the community and gives nothing back. I wanna make sure that it's viewed as a positive, so.
So you can park essentially bike and put it in the bike ranch, and then you can just go visit,
Yep.
enjoy the experience, go shop, have a drink or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, cool.
That is excellent.
thanks for taking time, Glenn.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for the photos to the commission.
Thank you. I'm gonna change the agenda up a little bit, because I know we've got folks here that want to address us. With us tonight are Bob Zadon and Roger, forgot your last name already.
Staples.
Anyway, Roger Staples, welcome, come on up to the table. Introduce yourselves to those that are left here, and then we'll get to the reads.
Good evening. Those of you that haven't met me, I'm Bob Zadon. I represent the FBO Airport, the owner, Reeves Potts. And Roger Staples is with us today. He's been kind enough to come up. He is our new director of operations. So we just wanted to give you an update on what's the new events are and what our vision and mission is over there. now that we're kind of reconstituting the airport to what it has been and hopefully take it in a further direction to help the town and to help, make it a viable, prosperous airport. We were fortunate enough to get Roger to come in. His incredible resume, a lot of experience. He manages a couple of King Air planes, and he's looking to expand that business, and also will eventually, hopefully, be an equity partner with us. And he'll be an operating equity partner, which is what the airport really needs. So I think I'd like to just turn it over to Roger. You don't need to listen to the boring accountant and listen to the guy that's actually gonna make things happen and has all the experience.
Maybe Roger's in this brains, but is King Air is charter?
That would be to reconstitute the charter
Okay.
business, and there is FAA requirements for that, so we're in the process of. Actually fixing some things with the certificate 135 that we need to do the charter right now, so we're in the process of making revisions to that. We have the 206, which is the only plane now on that, because we've had to take the 421 off for maintenance. Which we're gonna do or replace with even a better plane, hopefully. But then you have to go through test flights. I mean, he can tell you more than I am, like the fifth grader on that, so there's a whole process you have to go, obviously, to keep everything very safe. I think Rick knows more about it, a lot more about it than I do, so.
You were fifth grader the last time we talked, so.
It's still only the summer, so I'm almost into sixth, in another month, I'll tell you about sixth grade. So Roger, if you could just, give them some of your background and some of your, ideas of, you're gonna be essentially managing the airport for us.
Yeah, been operating commercially for almost 15 years, 10 years in the private and charter industry. And have a few airplanes that have been operating just privately for a few owners, looking to continue and expand those into the charter market. Been coming up here for years with clients, and through a different few connections, as I was looking around for operators to partner with, was put in touch with Reeves and Bob, and seemed like a good match and a good place to expand operations. Been excited to start working with Chris at the airport and watch him grow more scenics there. Now the 2 airplanes are up and running, he seems to be pretty busy every day, taking up a few people, multiple flights a week, so it's exciting to see that expanding. Main focus as things are starting to expand, I do have a almost 10-year background as an aviation safety consultant. So inputting a lot of safety policies and procedures in, so we can, with expansion, avoid any pitfalls or risks that could come up as best as they can be. We've started to put some added safety features in the airplanes over the past few weeks. If you go out and go for a ride, I'm sure you'll see those on board. Implemented some more standardized procedures. So as we go to expand operations on the 135 side, it makes things go smoother and we can grow things at a structured pace with the FAA. So they have a lot of hoops they like us to jump through to make sure all the airplanes are configured properly, maintained properly, and then crew members are also trained properly and qualified to operate the airplanes.
By chance, were you guys at the airport today when the 2 different TV stations showed up? To take some pictures on the 1.8 million that we just received for runway.
Yeah, congratulations, by the way.
I just missed that.
Yeah, I missed that, but I did see there were some really great pictures in the announcement that you sent me. It was
Sure.
really good, so.
Yeah,
And we had some questions, but I guess we can do that offline on how that's gonna work.
yeah, but we'll need to
Timing.
get together to
Yeah.
kind of confine when the work will be done.
Yeah,
Cause certainly as you guys present plans or wanna move forward, I wanna fit it in at the
Yeah.
best time
yeah,
without sacrificing scenics or charters. But our summer isn't real long, so
is that gonna be next year or is,
Yes.
yeah, okay, that's what I
Yeah.
was probably anticipating, but I just wanted to double check with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great, I mean. And the AWAS is going in the fall,
yeah,
yeah, that's great, so.
yeah.
So, and Roger's being a little bit humble, when I looked at the resume, and I know I mentioned this to you, it seemed like, the sky's open for us because he's got safety background, he's got director operations, he's got chief pilot, he's got certificate 135 experience, and. It just seemed to be like the perfect fit, and I think it was a good fit for him, which, can't just be one-sided. He's looking to, get his own operation, and he certainly is gonna fit in as, an owner at some point soon, I think. We gotta talk to you to.
You'll find good support here in
Yeah,
the town for you, Roger.
Good.
I do have a couple concerns from the public,
Yeah,
certainly not on you guys, but recently, I don't know if you've had at least 2 different occasions of a jet coming in, and the only way they land is from the west.
Okay.
and come really low over Mill Pond. But I also don't know if it's that C-130 military plane that's been here quite often lately over the last 6 weeks. Does that ring a bell for you at all?
There's been a number of operations coming in from different fractional and 135 operators from FlexJet, NetJet, and a few private operators.
Okay,
Which
is different for us
They're
to
really
have
big.
that.
I live on Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
They're really big, they're really loud.
Yeah, I almost feel like we're in City Field.
So that must be.
I even text Dick when it's my like plane guy, he's like, I'm not.
I thought it might have been a C-130, but C-130, well, what they're talking about, cause I was there one day when a resident came in, another resident, no, well, parents lived there. And so I paid attention, and the jets are coming in over Mill Pond. The C-130s are going right over us,
Hmm.
so it's, the C-130s, thank God, aren't going over you, so. But that, it is different.
So there is
Yeah, I
increased
think
traffic.
we're playing on Naperville too.
Which is good, but we don't wanna upset any of the
I know, I
residents.
was just different,
Yeah.
that just like, so it was just like, geez, that was like a really big plane and really loud, and so people had questions and.
I wonder if it was a citation or.
Yeah, the coming in, the approach into the airport, the best approach into the airport brings you in from the west northwest down over town into the runway.
Yeah,
And unfortunately for the configuration of the airport and where it is set, that's the best and safest approach, and it's what a lot of these operators will do. They won't do the other approach where they come over through the mountain pass. And
that's a
down.
drop.
Yeah, they prefer to come the other way, nice, stable, slow approach. It's not as steep, but similar to the Aspen approach, where once they are over top of you, it feels like they are there for a long time. Because their airplanes are fully configured, they're slowed down as slow as they can go because they're coming into a shorter runway. So they will have everything out and then be holding power to maintain a safe airspeed as they come in. With increased traffic, unfortunately, that's something that is going to occur a little more.
Yeah.
There can be some communication with these operators to ask in visual conditions when it's safe for them, if they can offset. We could work to try to work together and publish the noise abatement.
I think what Eric's trying to say, it's just different.
Yeah, it was more curiosity.
Yeah, it was like, okay, we've got these, cause I did see it, after, Emily and I were going back and forth. I did see a few of the bigger jets come in, and they weren't C-130s, they were private jets. And that's what they were doing, but just so now we know, we can explain to people when they go. We got this big jet coming in over my house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
meaning,
okay,
Mill Pond Drive.
like. I don't know it personally, because it's like the Adirondacks and it's loud, but I understand the greater sort of context that it is and the necessity, so it's like. It's part and parcel with growing, so like, it's one of those, I'm just like.
Well, the size of the runway though limits the size of the jet, right? A little bit.
Yes, and it depends greatly on the operation and where they're going to and from, not here, the size of the aircraft that come in, but I promise when I leave this evening, I'll go very quietly.
But just to bring
So
back,
now we know
bring back to the
That's you, I'm like, oh, it is much fun.
the military aspect, you have no say anyway, right? I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's
Which
just.
is, I expect, they get touch and goes.
Yeah, and really for all airplanes, it's a public use airport, so
Right.
we have no say, we can
Yeah.
ask and. See if they abide by what we request.
So they do a touch, and do we get a landing fee every time they touch?
Last summer, they were doing, there was two of them, they come in 2 at a time,
Really?
but this year, just 1 at a time.
They never touch down, they're off the runway.
I don't know, I just know they're going over my house,
Yeah, they're off the runway and they.
which is not a big deal. The first time you see one, it's like, oh, that's a C-130.
So their training is what I
Yes,
think is happening.
yes.
So anyway, naturally, Roger and Bob, you're certainly welcome at our town board meetings anytime. Maybe the avenue that will fit you better is our department head work sessions too,
Right.
where if you got things going on. And that's the third Wednesday.
Last Wednesday,
That would almost be better than
last Wednesday.
a board.
Is it? Oh, yeah, the last one.
And that's why I'm just.
You're absolutely right.
Sorry to correct you.
Yeah, that's all right. I need it from now.
And perhaps we could, catch a flight, have a meeting somewhere.
Yeah, really.
You could fit in the plane I brought this evening, so it's a possibility.
Okay.
Then he goes to the islands a lot, so if you have any connections for like island you know, retreats, that's where you go.
I do.
I think,
Yeah,
you need a-
I do.
I think you need a team building
Yeah.
event.
Nice.
That's really.
I'm embarrassed that I don't have a figure for you yet on, you know, the avgas
Yeah,
POS
yeah.
system. I'm having a hard time getting those
Well,
guys up,
I'm embarrassed as well too, because
From
I need to get a
Saratoga.
quote too, yeah.
but I'm on them. Every week they call and get a different excuse. I'm guessing as soon as summer's over, September will be a month
Sure,
where
yeah.
they've got plenty of time.
That
But
first day after
I won't
Labor
let
Day.
it fade into the.
No, we have a couple of items that, you know, will be coming back, yeah,
Okay.
and I want to get ready for it, because I'm probably negligent on it, well, might be the wrong word, but I'm late on and dropped the ball on getting you another quote too, because I think.
We're
gonna
on the
do
same
some-
boat. We'll stay on it.
But I know you guys are busy, I've been on a board before, so I don't want to take too much of your time up, but I want to thank you all, especially thank, you know, the time that Derek has spent with us, he's really been very, very helpful, and you know, obviously, we had a bad event there, and you know, it's taken some time to get our ducks in a row, and we're really close to getting it to the point where hopefully will be even more beneficial to everybody, you know, including the town too, because we want to be able to support the town, obviously, it's in our own interest.
Mhm.
You know, and obviously Rogers wants to grow the airport to the extent it makes sense for, you know, the kind of traffic and you know, I think you've always seen a tremendous amount of potential there.
Mhm.
Not that it wasn't being, you know, very active before, but I think, you know, we all, I think, agreed when Derek agreed that it was time to you know, get to a new stage with it, and I think we're like so close now that, you know, we can all taste it, so.
Yeah.
And I know you don't see that because, you know, you don't do the day-to-day stuff that we're
Right.
doing, so. But again, thank you, thank you, Rick, too, for your time in the.
Thank you both.
Yeah.
I'm only a phone call away.
Yeah, well, you've heard me from me before, so now you'll be hearing from Roger
That's
too.
good.
Again,
Thank you very
thanks.
much, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Glad you got our chance.
And I'm assuming you guys came to speak to us.
We did.
Come on up.
Oh,
I assume,
Graduation.
I assume you know everybody.
Not everybody.
no,
I don't know him. I don't know. you.
I don't know.
never met them.
I don't know them.
I know Emily and you, Rick, kind of.
Yeah.
Lori, okay, I didn't know you, yeah,
Jason Leon.
yeah, we haven't met, yeah, I enjoy.
Ed Reed and Joanne Reed.
I won't say a thing, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. For those of you who don't know us, we live out on Mountain Lane. Does everybody know where that is?
You bet.
AKA,
AKA Old Mountain Road.
yes,
We've lived here for 37 years. In the area and on Mountain Lane for 14 years. And we're gonna revisit an ongoing problem on Mountain Lane with runoff from the town road. It's damaging our property over and over and other properties on the road. So it's been going on for a long time, ever since we moved to Mountain Lane. And I realize Mountain Lane used to be
yeah,
almost a Jeep road.
Yeah.
We used to ski on it and sled in the winter. It wasn't even but now it's a town road. And we've raised this issue with the town highway department a few times, different supervisors. What?
can I interview? Yeah, so, and that might be this, the source of my frustration when I spoke out of line, but, you know, we're sort of like, don't know what to do next. So,
Yeah,
back to you.
we brought it up with the zoning board once, when our neighbor was putting in a new driveway. That it's a steep, straight driveway that just dumps sediment out on the town road. Right across from our driveway, and then it ends up on our property.
Sounds like,
You've heard this, I think you were on that board, that
No.
meeting.
I'm not sure, no, because I just, Dick always sends his sand down Elm Street, and it's up in my yard, so I can
But
empathize.
somebody was on that meet, it was like a variance or like they had to go through another a zoning
Yeah,
board and
it's a
we
board
were.
of appeals or something.
Yeah, and we zoomed in.
Right,
So there wasn't accommodating drains put in when they put their driveway in,
That takes,
just sort of draining
Yeah.
It's making Mountain Lane worse, but, you know. Mountain Lane isn't great anyway, but they were supposed to do a mitigation plan and we never saw that.
Never saw
That's-
anything.
That's you guys, you know, that's town stuff, not us,
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
You know,
Can you describe the property damage? Like, is it a flooded lawn? Is it a drainage ditch that gets too deep?
okay,
That's what he
there's several
said,
things, yeah. And well, the water runs down our driveway. While it's raining, the water will come off the town road, right down our driveway. You know, make gullies, wash our material away. We have to keep replacing at our expense.
May I ask you what your address is? Go pull up.
106
106,
Mountain Lane.
downhill,
My impression is they are the lowest point on the road.
Okay.
No,
boy, the people next door, they're
People are
really,
But just for them to get an idea that.
it's like
Why-
going the hill.
why-
we're on the downhill side of it.
Yeah, you kind of
Yeah.
crest the hill and you start down.
Yeah,
In between the road and Round Lake.
Yeah, we are.
Yes.
Yeah, we actually see Round Lake, we have a view from our property.
Right.
So it's on that
I
side,
see what you're saying.
yeah,
the
and then
driveway turns
it's
out.
everywhere, the sand is just,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, and also the sediment, you know, after a heavy rain like the recently we had. Our woods is full of sand and crusher run and all kinds of stuff, and it smothers trees we're trying to get
yeah,
going.
we planted.
Our ditches are getting full of sediment. We actually put a catch basin in. We had Matt Colby come out and put in a big rock catch basin.
yeah.
So it would stop the sediment, and that filled up in less than 2 years, and now it's overflowing and.
So actually, Ed, I can tell you that your concerns haven't fallen on deaf ears because Ken Porter has been in contact with me within the last 2 weeks to talk about your residents. And we hashed around ideas whether dry well would help. Is what you had Matt put in totally surface?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah,
so the last time I spoke to Ken about this, I talked about, is there room within the right of way? Or potentially a shared border between your property and the town to put in a dry well? Something that would be adequate enough to take a serious storm where the ground could take it. Because, you know, he's convinced that whether we ditch or whenever we change the course of water or try to, it's in vain. We're facing too much uphill and trying to contain it at the bottom. And we can't do that without some kind of collection system. Like, and I don't know if that idea appeals to you, but Ken is concerned, and I don't want you to think
Because
he's just
you left a
turning off
message
on it,
for him,
because
right?
he's
Yeah.
not that kind of highway superintendent.
Yeah, because Ed called him and we haven't heard back, so
Yeah.
that's helpful, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
He just got back from Ohio, he's been out there for nearly a week, but prior to that, we had a conversation about your property.
okay,
Uh,
that's
Well, the
good to
only
know.
thing is that if the whole road is a problem,
It is,
then that doesn't, no one fixes their problem.
Yeah,
But it's the termination of most of the road down there. So we've talked even about higher up the road, about crossing the road with a certain amount of it with a 45-degree culvert. Anyway, there's different ideas going through his head.
seems like you gotta get some culverts.
yeah, I'm not a highway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So, yeah,
we had
So-
our driveway engineered, like we had somebody come out, engineer it, they put in culverts
ditches.
and ditches and all this stuff, more than I know how to
and
do.
you're still battling.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just.
Well, yeah, it gets overwhelmed, but
Yeah.
you could do that to the road, is that gonna happen? Because DEC is gonna put parking lot at the bottom, you guys know about that, right?
Yeah,
We're getting more and more traffic,
Yeah, lots of
oh my gosh,
hikers, skiers,
I guess
it's a
it's good.
jackrabbit trail.
yeah,
right.
and that's gonna get worse, so
Yeah.
No parking at the top though, right? That was.
there is parking at the top at the end.
Yeah, I thought it was get rid of parking at the top and the parking is down below, so you have to walk up Old Mountain Road or ski or whatever.
Ultimately, I wonder, I don't, right now, they're
I
still,
think
and
that's
now
a
they're
condition
parking,
of our
they
agreement.
actually park down the road. You know where the parking
Yeah.
slump was?
Well, close to you guys, right?
No, no, it's at the end of the.
It's at the end of the road,
Up
they're gonna,
near Chris's.
Yeah,
Up at Chris's,
just past Chris's.
and now when they overflow now, we've never seen this before, they're actually parking down the road in the winter. So it's been discovered clearly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
And please know, your worries are not falling on deaf ears.
okay,
Okay,
good,
In fact, you know, the people that you and I will be dealing with are right there. Those are the two highway liaisons that work with Ken. closely.
So I have to talk to him?
You don't have to.
We all feel that same way.
Joanne,
No, Rick, now I do.
Joanne, it's either him or me.
I know, really. Rick.
You choose.
6 of one, half dozen the other.
No, I know Ken's
Okay.
spoken to me about
Okay.
it quite a bit, so. Yeah.
Right, so it's on your radar anyway.
Yeah,
You know, we'd like to see something sooner rather than later.
Sure.
Got to keep replacing our driveway.
yeah. And he's too old. He's like doing it now by hand. It's like, this has to stop.
You're the edge, you're too old.
Looks pretty good.
I mean, it's funny.
Those are kind words. Once you retire, you're too
Well,
old.
I'm too old.
Yeah, that dry well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so how does the dry well work, you know?
Yeah, certainly, a grade will bring the water to it. It can happen two different ways. It can be French drain type pipe with fabric over it where the water seeps in well before the pit and goes into a dry well where the dry well is covered up at top. It can have a top on it with a manhole cover
Mhm.
where it's subsurface to any drainage ditches. So everything gets in and the top can come off and a vac truck can clean it. That's generally the best way to do it.
Ugh.
Because every dry well that's around here needs to be vacuumed out
That's what
every
they're for.
2, 3, 4 years.
Sand and dirt get sucked out?
Oh, yeah.
Sure,
Vacuum blow it out.
yeah, the village has a vac truck with a hose 12 inches in diameter,
That sounds good.
yeah. it's
Better than a
about
shovel.
2 feet.
Mm.
We have a number of them up at the lacrosse fields.
Oh.
Just to accommodate all the water, so. That, I shouldn't say in my opinion, because I'm not an engineer, but Ken will come to the right decision,
Okay,
yeah. Let me ask you this, where your driveway leaves the road, is there a culvert there?
No.
Is there ditches both sides?
no, there are no ditches on Mountain Lane.
You gotta understand, there really
So-
aren't.
It's just
So it's just the grade of the road that lets the water go where
Yeah,
the,
and it's not even whatever you call it, crown.
ground, right?
yeah,
So,
And they use a rake on it occasionally.
Right.
After every rain, they have to come out and rake it,
right,
you know? They crown it a little bit, but that doesn't last.
it seems like. We'd all save, you guys would save a lot of money if somebody like did a big job on it, like. If you're not gonna pave it, which I don't know the details of that,
It's expensive.
is it? Okay, so then culverts and ditches, we don't have any of that, and that's gonna save time and money. Because those poor town guys are there all the time putting crush run and raking it.
We do.
And then, and I can tell you where, we know where it is when it washes away, we can help you find it, it's on our property and, you know, the
Yeah.
neighbors.
If anybody wants to come out and look at it,
Yeah.
you're welcome to come out. and
Yeah.
look at it.
Okay.
So ultimately, it could save money.
Yeah,
well, as I put bullet points on every town board, I'll put Ken on the top of today's.
Well, thank
Town
you.
board, and I'll touch base with them as early as tomorrow.
Thanks, I know you're dealing with bigger issues too, so
Yeah.
thanks a lot. for your-
Well, all issues are issues.
I was gonna say,
We need to
big
address
issue to
we do
you.
have one other question for you guys.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They recently installed broadband cable in the mountain. road.
Yep,
And we noticed that people doing the work were like local residents, they weren't town employees or anything.
either town or village employees, but the work was done within our right of way. Yeah.
No, it wasn't done. Yes, it was, but it, so we're just curious about the permitting process. They were not town employees, they were private contractors. So how does one do that? Do
So.
you have to get a permit to
Dave
work on town?
Janino worked in concert with Spectrum,
Okay,
and Chris did the digging,
okay,
the resident out there,
okay.
Chris and Ken Juben.
right?
And Bert
And
Sweegenhalf
Who lives in New York City and comes up.
Is that a village?
His tractor, so, but the permitting
Working with the
process
village?
for allowing people to work on the town road.
Well, if it's within our right of way
Yeah.
and they have insurance and they're covered, then it's, they're just a contractor.
Well,
for us.
yeah, so like if the contractor is going to do that, they have to get a permit or something?
Well, they have to contact the village board.
If they work for the town board. then they are-
village then?
Well, even with the electric department, because the electric department owns the poles, even though they're in the town.
Yeah.
There are no poles.
Oh, something
It's
else?
underground.
It's very.
Oh. I
Yeah,
don't know about that.
very-
Cause it's, you know, it's gotten a lot worse.
So Spectrum was the contractor, so to speak.
They
Or was it
were,
Dave?
they were the utility supplier.
And Dave was,
And in the scope of how it was done, it was basically done with volunteer effort. Which saved virtually everybody a lot of money.
Oh,
Like the digging was volunteer.
We understand
Yeah,
there was
that's-
a grant though, that they received. a
Yeah,
grant
where did the
to-
grant, what was the grant funding from? Somebody said it was a grant that they could get.
Somebody told us that.
No.
No, nothing, you know about.
No? No,
Okay,
For like increased broadband access.
Yeah, so when you
Well-
paid for the cable to go
well,
out there, Spectrum
no.
doesn't do that.
if, for instance, fiber optics was run out there and Dave Janito was, a recipient of a grant to run that,
Might have received.
then, but that's.
That's what happened.
That's
He
what
has,
it was.
That's what it was. It was Dave, Big
it
Dave.
wouldn't be anybody digging a ditch or any of that.
but they're saying.
Grant money.
Right, it would have
What's
been
that?
Dave. I
No,
see.
Dave didn't dig the ditch. Dave,
No.
it was other people. He got the grant and then
Then he
he administered
then he
it.
had Ken
I see.
and whoever.
And he had-
did.
So I wanna ask, what's the problem?
I don't think there is.
There's not a problem. We're curious about like,
Just wanted to know.
can I go up and just dig on the road? Like if I get it, I've always wanted to play with large machines. So can I get a machine and go? And
You
Pardon me?
need our permission. Everyone that dug in that road had to get permission from Ken. Porter, through the
Okay.
highway. commissioner.
So, okay, thank
Yep.
you.
That's all.
Thanks. All
Yeah.
right.
Very good.
All right,
Thanks
thank
so
you
much
very
for
much.
listening to us.
thank you.
Thanks for moving us up on the
We'll pick it
agenda.
up tomorrow.
Okay.
Although I am curious about the town window, town floor, on all window
That's
agenda.
what's happening out on this side. of the
You don't wanna know the
That's what the difference passion, yeah.
Once you read those windows, you can forget your road, you know.
Say goodnight, Dick.
That's it.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
Nice to see you.
You here to listen.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just here to listen in.
All right, all right.
Say.
They cleaned everybody out, right?
Yeah, I know.
But if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, no, I know, that's usually what brings me here, but no,
Yeah.
I'm just back in Lake Placid now, I missed the last one, had a prior reservation, but.
All right, next item on the agenda, and I don't know if we really need to tackle this tonight. Where are we at with the seasonal full-time holiday comp? Did we settle that last meeting? I don't think we did.
No, Kathy is in. I think Kathy has.
The
The
policy,
policy,
yeah,
proposed policy.
so.
Is that
why-
true, Kathy?
I remember giving you copies of stuff that we already have in place, but I don't have a proposed policy for seasonal.
Okay.
That's our only category that we haven't,
Right.
I'll tuck it in for September,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
because seasonal won't apply then.
right. Right, it's for next year anyway.
Right, okay. Next thing is, I have prepared. If this comes up again, I'm quitting. This is a resolution. To finally figure out this $7,000 that we've okayed for Keith Clark's Community School Summer Camp.
Wait, you just felt like it should be a resolution?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sound anymore, but like you couldn't just have been a motion?
Yeah, didn't we vote on it already? Or
Well,
no?
You were very passionate, waiting to the 13th. Remember Jason? I
Waiting
wanted
till we
to do
have
it 2 weeks
policy.
ago and
That's
said
right.
no. And the application.
I'm covering my bum.
They haven't had a board meeting. We were all ready. He shot us down.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're that guy.
Hate to do things wrong,
You're that guy.
but.
And Rick, moving forward, this system will work now so that as another request comes up for money, we can go back to every resolution that we've passed money on.
Yeah.
So I think that part's good.
We have another one tonight, so.
So this is resolution number 18.
It's really something.
Well, it's out of order, I know. In any respect, I'm looking for a motion. And a second to approve a resolution authorizing $7,000 to be paid from the cannabis tax fund to Keith Clark for the community school summer camp program.
So moved.
Moved by Jason, seconded by Dick.
It's all yours.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Right?
No one opposed, carried. Did you get, who did that?
Yeah.
Should I give you this?
Yeah.
All right.
So are you saying, not to prolong this, but every time we approve, we wanna do it be a resolution and number it?
I think
That's fine.
Resolutions are actually numbered.
But I'm just saying, we don't approve leaf money or
No.
Yeah.
ARPA money. Did I say
Yes, sir.
ARPA before? ARPA money.
You did already, I'm going like.
they're broke.
It's just generally
Yeah, I
by,
don't have
it's just
anybody
generally by
involved.
motion, but by, if you wanna make
That's
it
why
more
they have no
formal.
benefit.
Sure.
Either way, if once you guys drop back into the motion category, I'll be fine with that. Just a quick discussion on park district and not-for-profit setups. This is something we have to consider down the road. What has happened over the years as every not-for-profit calls us for park district personnel to set up tents. Most are warranted, many are not. I'm at a loss for understanding the things that we recognize we're deficient in our parks, in our park district maintenance. While we are out running around setting up tents for everybody, it's not like we don't want them, we don't have a workforce big enough to do it. I don't know the answer, but I also don't wanna make the decision on my own. I don't need a decision tonight, but you need to all think about it.
Well, we could create a policy.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it would be discretion, in other words, if they want the big tent.
Yeah,
they want the community.
got the dryer running too.
Yes, okay. What's that,
excuse me,
Gabby?
Oh, I'm sorry.
She said to keep the dryer running.
Okay. I mean, if somebody wants to use the big community day tent, yes,
yeah,
we can help, okay? And I mean, this all could go into a policy, but, you know, and if it's a smaller tent and it's a weekend that we have user discretion and there's guys available to do it, we could do it. And we just say, hey, we got too much going on, I'm sorry.
I'd
listen,
rather not set up tents outside of our property.
I don't,
Liability is increased.
But,
Well, I'm
well,
just assuming anything that's on parks, so it would be within the parameters of what would be.
Well, that's a major change in what we've
Yeah.
done in the past.
that's it, see,
And so it's kind of a slap in the face to a lot of community groups to be like, we're not gonna set your tent up at, you can't have our tent. And we're not gonna,
So this is in the town, is it not the village?
Oh,
Not
it's
village?
both.
it's both, it's both,
It's both.
it's both, yes.
It's not like I wanna say no, but you realize you steal a minimum 4 guys to set up a tent. Take a guess how much out of the day that is.
Yeah.
You might as well cross off a half a day.
so
large
like
tent,
at John
they
Brown Farms, like they set up tents at John Brown Farm, they set up.
Oh, really? The state doesn't do that?
No.
No, we don't.
And
All the tents you see for every fundraiser that goes on is us. And here I
there
am,
are tents.
here I am kinda bitching at things we're not getting done. That's why.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, I think that, like I said, no decision tonight, but could think about. I'm sure there's certain tents, like I said, they use the big one, they need some help, they
Right,
need some assistance, some professionals to do it, per se.
yeah,
However, if they have smaller tents and we have a lot going on that weekend, guys, I'm sorry.
that's why, I'm gonna toot my own horn here. That's why the addition of one of these roof-only metal buildings at the showgrounds gives an avenue for every not-for-profit to save dates and come down, they don't need a tent. They got a 70 by 200.
And it's built in with this, well, we're taking the whole entire parks. So
Regardless.
it's a whole new,
Regardless of this big plan I've been looking at.
Hmm.
Just think about one building.
Yeah.
That satisfies this whole
Sorry.
community.
And the other thing is too, I mean, if we're sending 4 guys to do it, okay, a tent, given 10. You know, and again, we look at, make it somewhat discretionary. And we say, okay, to this organization A, well, I can send 1 guy. If you got 5 guys, I got 1 guy that can come down and help you and guide you to put it up, but I can only spare 1 guy.
Well, yeah,
I mean, just throwing that out.
yeah, I know.
The easiest answer is if we still wanna sometimes do it if we have time, if staff has time, is it's an application process. and it has to be submitted at least 2 weeks before your event. And we'll, and this is definitely like a Chelsea job as the park district administrator, she would be the one processing those applications.
Yeah.
And it has to be in 2 weeks before, 2 weeks before,
I'm almost saying one.
or say 30 days before your event, and we'll give you an answer 2 weeks before your event.
That's it.
So like
yeah,
you, if
that's better.
within 2 weeks, you're gonna have to find something else if we say we can't do it.
That's right.
Has anyone tracked the number of tents we've done over a calendar year?
You wouldn't
It's
even
a
wanna know.
Yeah. And
But I'm just saying with having that data compiled, so if we do, as we develop a process and a policy and people get upset. Then we have the data to say, this is like, we wanna help, but this is what we're facing.
Do you realize just with the project I'm gonna put in front of you for renovating the Long Building? Once that's done, that satisfies 50% of the people that need a place to go. Because it will be climate controlled and year round. So
Having that data.
we're gaining on the ability to relieve ourselves with work with setting up tents.
Mhm.
And giving people a place to go.
Sure, I can even see that as like a new place for there's what do they do? Oh, I'm blanking all of the last second, it's like every Saturday.
Oh, farmers market.
Yeah, go to Syracuse, there's like, it has like these old buildings and like
Yeah,
down by the baseball, and it just opens up, I can imagine having.
so that's kind of the direction we're in.
And the
So
nice
enough
thing
for that
too is the
now.
ring will no longer be grass, so they can set tents up there in the offices. That connects to the lawn.
I just think having that data like definitely will help.
We'll get that.
If anyone's,
Yeah.
if anyone's.
we also set up chairs for the Sinfonietta.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
yeah, it's something.
But I'm just saying, it's one of those, it's like one of those, when people realize the extent, because to them, they may say, oh, we only do this once and it's a small number. But if they look at it in the aggregate, and say, okay, if we understand, it helps them.
Yeah.
Every
provide some
week,
context.
multiple tents all summer long.
I don't,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next item is just quick, I wanna let you know, you can see that the rest of the work on our lentils has started out here on the street. They started Monday and they'll be here probably until November. You all remember that this represents another $300,000. We have an estimate of $98,000 to finish the front next year. We'll talk about that during budget negotiations. Once that's done, then we can actually take the village up on their offer for New York Power Authority credits to help us with windows. Which will be huge, because as you all know, all winter long, we can all have trays of water on our windowsills and have all the ice cubes we want.
yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't say that it would be a wiser and more fiscally responsible investment if we just bought jackets for the staff.
And
Your mom's in it really, right?
That actually was a good one. Yeah,
Thank you.
all right, next.
I was gonna say, do you want that on the record?
I have to get that paper at least.
Yeah, so this
I
is,
need it.
I have lots of questions about this one.
Not any more than I've already.
So for first thing is, I'm assuming Moody Pond is in the village of Saranac Lake.
Primarily.
Yes.
With a very small sliver of it, town of North Elba. So when you go in where this sign is proposed to sit is a parcel in the town of North Elba. But it lies within the village, and the sign code and the plowing of that street remain the decision of Jimmy Williams.
Okay,
I've made that very clear to Davina.
that was my biggest question.
Yeah,
Because we
Davina,
would never allow this
No.
where we have laws.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
no,
No.
So
There'd be one on every.
I watch when I'm driving this, go up to the plains, it says you're too loud.
And we would like to see draft one also, you know.
yeah, why is Saranac Lake not spearheading this and then asking us?
I think they want money, right?
no, this has nothing to do with money. This is Davina's sole attempt at keeping the Moody Pond neighborhood getting along, let's say. And it's a huge challenge. The primary concern centered around the Sixers program.
Yeah.
Where the town was inundating and parking on people's lawns and halfway around the pond.
Yeah.
So Davina did go and put up stanchions, to try to corral and put up a number of no parking signs and stuff.
And Baker got taken up.
And yes. that
It
was a
didn't. I was
concession.
told the other day it didn't.
It's not marketed anymore.
That's what I thought, yeah,
It's still one of the Sixers,
right,
but it's not promotional.
right, that's what I thought,
Anymore.
yeah, it's still, on, yeah.
So things have they've calmed down quite a bit. But it is a split community on their opinions on everything. So this is one attempt Davina's doing to try to make, you see Moody Pond is, let's call it the miniature Mirror Lake. Everybody walks around it.
Mm.
And there's no sidewalk.
And they all have dogs and the dogs all go to the bathroom. and So it's a myriad of problems.
Right.
All she wants is a conceptual idea if the town of North Elba is okay with a sign once it passes Jimmy Williams' litmus test.
So it'll follow their code.
It'll have to follow their code. And we still don't know if in the right of way leaves this sign subject to snowbanks and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I've reiterated a couple times that this is far from the top of my radar right now. I wanna do anything that will help the community feel like we're looking after heavy traffic over there and stuff. If the little sign helps, okay, but even what's on that sign, if you're even driving 20 miles an hour, you can't read it all.
No, that's the thing.
Only if
It's
you're
like
walking.
be a good human. You need a sign to take, I just don't, I see that there's very little effect in this sign.
I just.
Welcome to Moody Pond area, use your head.
Yeah.
Or get a bit more concise.
Or just basically, like it said, please be respectful of our residents.
Actually, I appreciate it though, yeah.
I can empathize, I just, and I hate to say, I hate to see this person, but now, worst case scenario. What other sort of areas in North Elba are becoming problem issues and then people want us to,
Well, I would say
Authorize
if
or erect a
this
sign.
was within North Elba, outside the village of Saranac Lake, where our zoning code applies, the answer is no,
No.
100% no, you
No.
cannot.
It
do
doesn't
this.
mean, that was my first question.
But it's up to the village of Saranac Lake, they say it's okay, it's not our decision to say if it's okay. So I'm comfortable just saying it's the village of Saranac Lake's decision.
Yeah.
okay,
And I will say though that carry it in, carry it out is outdated, it's now leave no trace.
Right,
Oh, good point.
yep.
That includes your dog stuff.
Yeah. But like you said, all these things
So
are.
leave no trace, no sign?
And actually technically, Jay, it's something like observe, leave no trace principles, there's like a longer phrase than leave no trace.
That's all we need is more words.
Really, bigger sign,
so.
So the ball's in their court.
Yeah.
That fair enough?
Yeah,
I mean, to me, basically, I'm not gonna beat it, but all these things they've listed. Please be respectful of our residents,
Yeah,
that's what it is, you
Yeah,
don't have to list what they are.
right.
you can almost put an image. Like
Yes.
you don't have to put a lot of words, just put an image.
That's right.
All right, next on agenda is just a reminder of. Rose put a lot into this safety report. As recent as was it today they just did those cameras? This morning?
yes.
Yeah, the only place we are deficient in cameras is this hallway. Watching the judge's door.
Oh, okay.
So both ways in the hallway, when they ran the lines, they wanted to run it down closer to the door, there's a steel I-beam, so
Okay,
they had to come back, drill through the steel. That's a cost that's on us. You're lucky I still got ARPA money, so. Anyway.
is it growing?
Yeah, the
You
interest,
invested
Yeah,
it, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So I was confused with the name. It says First Amendment Audit Response. It was more of a safety report.
well, yes.
Done in response to that, yeah, it shouldn't have been called that, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
Because that was 3/4 of my comments were, why?
Yeah,
a lot of it, I think a lot of the safety report had to do, well, a lot of the First Amendment portion of it had to do with access by someone coming in.
Correct.
Right,
Getting behind doors or accessing what really isn't open to the public.
Right,
I
like
think-
beautification and community office.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not public access.
Exactly. And even the Dutch doors at the building office, same deal.
Mm.
Yeah. They can invite you in
Yeah,
if you have business.
and really the only, I don't wanna call it controversial office. Is even where I'm at and Lori's
Yeah.
at and Adrian's at, because a certain portion of the business gets done through the window.
Yeah.
But there are people that come in for permits and licenses where the door needs to remain open. So that's not the easy one to fix.
that was my big question was, you know, I mean, there's a
What if
suggestion
we
here.
had a bigger teller window like the village? did?
Well, and
Or
that's what they want, that's what
Bring
they
it up
want.
today.
Yeah,
Or just
No, I
install like a divider.
We were talking to Adrian about a wider.
I know it'd be a little bit more expensive.
It's a
but like-
yeah, no, I don't
And
think
the
it's
window
expensive, I
opens
just
both
don't know if
ways.
that's the best way
Yeah.
to do it, I don't know.
Oh, because it's not made in
There's a lot of options out
Okay.
there. But one thing I don't like is, I mean, one thing to think about, I don't have the answer for this, but by putting in all this, the keypad on the door and all this stuff and keeping people out, and that's been, you know, that's what you're doing. You know, you wanna invite people a little bit,
Sure,
you know what I mean? It's not like, okay, let me buzz you in, you
right.
know what I mean?
This is
Why don't
kind
you
of
put the
precedent.
buzzer in past my office if you want it?
Yeah.
I don't care if people put it in.
Well, you should to a point.
Oh, I don't care to buzz them in.
But no, I mean, if you want to put a buzzer on the door, I don't want buzzers on my area. So
Well,
I'm the first person that everybody comes,
yeah, but that's the whole
See.
point is, the concept is, as listed in this, is, you know, security. Privacy, everything else, but you also don't wanna say, stay out, and that's what you're doing. You know, I don't have the answer, but I just don't like the idea of, okay, just having the window. And if you wanna come in and see anybody, meaning primarily you,
Yeah.
Right,
okay, but you know, I'm being facetious here, but let's see some ID, I'll buzz you in. You know, whatever.
Or where's your appointment?
When's your, do you have an appointment? Yeah, Derek's a
Right.
busy man, you know, it's like, you're not inviting at all.
out of that one day, what we found out was one of the panic buttons.
Yeah.
Didn't work, it sent the wrong message. It came in as the vault, right, Lori?
upstairs at the
Yeah.
police
In
department.
any respect, I called and had Mahoney come do the inspection. And of course, the company that makes the parts for that is long since gone. So we have a new estimate coming for a whole new buzzer system. So that's the major thing that came out of this report.
Yeah, I can see that, and, you know, I mean, and nothing's that secure anyway, nothing's, you know, greatly secure anyway. They all get around things, so to make it so uninviting,
Yeah,
I'm just not a fan.
I've had a hard time fathoming what safety. I mean, do you put a French door in place of your door? That's not safe. You
No.
still can put a gun through it,
Right,
but it prevents, if it's the First Amendment visitor that feed all this
Yeah.
up, then you put a French door in or a split door
and that's their
and
very,
that's locked.
Wait, so did like some YouTuber basically like
Yeah.
scare all you guys so much
First-
that now we've gotta spend
First
town money
Amendment
or something?
Yeah.
Came in with his camera, yeah.
But was that like? I mean, had it never occurred from some local being able to walk in that it was like, I don't get what changed, why are we spending more
I
money?
think the world has changed.
Yeah,
I think it just enlightened us to.
possibilities.
We're working out of the eighties here.
Got it, but I also don't use like a wheelchair, how accessible is a teller window
We're fixing that.
to a door? Is that?
That's being.
Say,
is-
Well, then these doors, sorry, I thought you were gonna talk about the front doors.
No,
Front doors.
partially that also, but I was just curious as far as if there's a teller window, I know if it's close to my chest height, if I was sitting in a chair, then it
That's
probably
how-
seems less uninviting than if
Right.
there's a door that I
That's the
can
thing.
go through.
But just kind of circling back, it was, that situation put us all on sort of like, on our back, you say like, where is the appropriate place, what is? Cause we're so, a small town, it's like, like, nothing's really off limits, but like, now that a certain circumstance happens. And then the subsequent follow-up is that the people following, watching, they were calling, being harassing to some extent, so it's like.
Well, we see it even with the hiking trails, when things get noticed online, it can be a lot easier to pick up steam with.
We did add camera, like I was saying, so you can watch the judge's door.
Got it.
And not too many years ago, we did add a Dutch door system. Because people come in just irate over parking tickets and stuff and wanna get to the clerks.
Yeah.
Mad. So, and so that was a minimal expense for
Yeah,
a little bit of safety.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool, no, just curious,
Sure. It's not trying to keep people out, but just
No, it's
realizing where is the
understandable.
appropriate place, what do we legally need?
Some level of a barrier, you know.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, I think that, like you said, the biggest point that came out of it was fix the panic button system. So that's appropriate, that's.
So I don't see anything else out of here that really raises a red flag. But
Yeah, because-
I wanted to acknowledge this.
Oh, it was a great job.
Yeah, no, and the fact is, like, what they said about about the judges, about the law office and everything, of course, court office. I mean, you could do that and do what they suggest and everything, but still not secure.
Right.
Mike Bordesign, gosh, I should text Mike and tell him about my voice today. He said.
In a positive way, or negative way?
But he recently, he like was, it was about the First Amendment audit. He messaged me about how we need to have a security guard and a metal detector at the door. And I was like, we can't go there yet.
No, we're not
Well,
there.
you're just coming from someone who teaches. In both buildings, you need to buzz in, let's just say as a teacher outside, you buzz in, open the door, go in, and you have to buzz yourself in again. Now, if you're, as you know, like as a parent, buzz in, they come in, and then they can see it, then. You're supposed to put your license in, and then they can do a background check, and then they can buzz you in again. That's what an elementary school is now.
Except for Saturdays.
I mean, why,
They
yeah,
have a code.
metal detector seems a little overkill, especially if we're talking technology with 3D printers, it's easier and easier to print non-metal weapons, so it's.
If you really care about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, do we have the signs in the hallway now about no loitering and things like that? I didn't notice. I thought, didn't we talk about
What would
it
we all do
before?
if we couldn't loiter in these hallways?
What?
What would we all do if we couldn't loiter in the hallways?
And
At least we can't decide.
what's the purpose of the signs?
No loitering.
What if somebody dies?
People say no dogs, there are dogs that.
Well, that's the thing, I mean, if you put no loitering and it helps 20% of the time for the cost of the signs and putting them up, it's worth it to me. Signage is worth it.
Derek can be just last inviting.
I do think that there should be signs if there are not about the new cameras, like I think that there should be signs out
Yeah.
front that there are, you're being videoed. Whatever the
Yeah.
appropriate language is for the cameras,
And
which I think we have to do anyway, right?
I think so.
But I think that is also another deterrent to have.
Well, that's the thing, the no loitering sign, yeah, people will hang around. See if citizens come in.
Are we supposed to notify if we have cameras?
No, I don't think so, because Main Street, I just saw everybody
Yeah, I
on Main
don't think
Street
so.
walk.
I guess
Public
from a
place.
I don't think you do,
safety
it's a public
perspective,
place, you know.
Yeah,
But
it's a public place.
it's helpful to see that.
Oh, no, I'm not against the signs at all.
It's required.
Derek said he was gonna zip through this agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking at the clock too, I noticed that.
10 minutes, I'll be done, and then we go to executive session. Yeah.
It's already on time.
The Olympic torch, real quick, we allocated 20,000 to try to fix the base.
Mhm.
I think I sent you pictures of what Lupini had for leftover. They're like 12 or 14-inch square blocks, bluestone. I don't wanna move forward on it. And I'm sure with Andy on board here, he's gonna be all ears on this,
Yeah.
but there has been a little bit of talk that there's a possibility we may be approached to consider moving the torch.
To be determined, I wouldn't say the
No,
location.
to be determined
Yes.
to a different location, so there's no sense spending money on that base, knowing that there could be another avenue for this.
My only question, Derek, would be, is there any reason to spend some money so it doesn't further deteriorate?
Not deteriorate, but it would help to pull the remaining fascia blocks that are still on it off. And that was on my initial list to Matt.
So it would still look,
because
from my perspective, so you never know how long this is gonna, whatever this process.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask you for more.
It could be years.
So like,
yeah,
yeah.
and once the fascia's torn off it, it's a poured foundation.
Yeah.
So it's clear concrete,
Okay.
yeah,
I don't
Which
think
might look better than it does now.
I'd like to see what this is.
uh,
Yeah.
what, the
Looks pretty bad.
bluestone?
Yeah.
Didn't I send it?
No,
I didn't? Okay,
but that's on hold anyhow.
yeah,
We're just gonna get down to the bare concrete.
Should probably still look better than.
What it does now,
Bluestone
it's horrendous right now.
okay. Under cannabis applications. I'd just like to report that just within the last couple days, we received another $33,322 of cannabis tax funding. Without Kathy looking up the amount, we just gave 7,000. That had us around $90,000. And we do have a cannabis application here from the elementary school for pollinator gardens.
Now, that's from Cindy, right?
This is
It's on
from
the, on the behalf, I assume on behalf of the.
Yeah,
I have a suggestion that's probably not in the policy, but I thought about this when that came in, is what if two of us were assigned to create
the review,
more committees? Like what if, and I'm looking at Rick because actually maybe I should look at Jason, but two people to review it beforehand for like, for completeness and for additional.
before it comes to
Before it
us.
comes to us, because this is now, not that this is wasting your time.
And
We're
give a
still trying to figure this-
recommendation.
We're still trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
Or. Just interrupt you just 1 second, for the completeness or a recommendation, cause I would
It could be
say,
both.
Yeah,
I would say, no, I would just say completeness.
Okay, and cause you want a full discussion of.
Right, cause I mean, just comparing to leave, okay. Kristen looks at all the applications, see if they're applicable or whatever, everything's there, and then we get them.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that this is not complete, but I had, you know, she answered all of her questions, but I had
It's very
many
general.
follow-up questions. And so, like, I don't think we can make a decision on this. I mean, I don't feel comfortable making a
no.
decision on this today.
well, we haven't even discussed it.
like when's the implementation date? It has to be next year.
Yeah, well, it is.
Well, and like, where's the other $5,000 coming from? So we
Yeah.
need to revise, there needs to somehow be a revision to the application that says, what is the.
Source of funding.
Yeah, back to this budget where we thought there was budget and budget's not in there. And also, like, she's applying for this, but she is not the school.
Right.
Like, I think the school should be
She's
applying
the-
for it.
No, she can be the contact.
She's the gardener.
Yeah, she's the contact.
Yeah, but if the application is not from the Lake Placid Central School District.
If it's gonna go on, I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
if it's gonna be on their property, they
Do
should
they
have
even
some
approve it?
authorization.
Yeah, do they, like, is.
Do they want the?
Well,
Basically, it'd be
ordinance?
like, what the hell are you talking about?
What would be so new?
Oh, sorry, Sonia, it's like elementary school.
So then should this go back to Haley for comments, back to Cindy for further information?
I feel like Haley is a great conduit and like a receiver, but at the same time.
But we
she-
should take care of it.
We're the ones who are thinking more critically about what's not being answered.
What I may suggest is, we all seen them, is to look at leaf application. All that stuff you're asking for is on that application.
I think
That would
we
be-
did, I think that is taken from the LEAF application, because there's even a question about visitor, like what's the visitor
Right.
Yeah, I
experience?
think-
Okay, I'm just saying then they,
I think we can leave that.
then Cindy or anybody should be. I mean, I didn't look at the application format, but everything is on that leaf application that you just pointed out.
Alright, so I'm gonna make a note
Right here.
for,
The bold.
The budget part, well,
But
there's
there's
more,
more,
but it's
yeah,
not
but
in the application.
there's, yeah, that's it.
That's all she submitted it.
How do we wanna move forward?
so I'm gonna ask Haley to please, based on what Dick said, to please look again at the LEAF application and see if there's more details from the LEAF application that we can pull into this
Yeah.
one. But then,
Let me give you this.
But I agree with having two
two people
two
review it
board
with
members to
Haley,
review it,
because.
because that's too much on him
Yeah, and
anyhow.
I don't think you're probably never gonna get one that there isn't like more questions going back, but I'm sure Kristen with LEAF goes back all the time and
She
says,
does,
you're
and
missing.
that's what we do, but even after we get them, we may get together and we'll say, okay, Kristen, go back to them even now and say other questions.
So I'm happy to be one of those two people. I feel like Rick has a lot.
No, I'll.
Okay, so Dick's the second person?
Yeah, I'm good.
Thank you for your protection.
No. I usually have leaf expertise.
So-
Yeah, right.
All right, good.
Derek wants to move on.
So.
But so
You're
we
so
would
thoughtful.
actually meet with Haley sometime soon, so she can get back to Cindy and say the board got your application.
We can do
for
that.
the question.
I'm leaving tomorrow, but I'll be back first part of next week.
Oh, you're gosh.
You want him on?
I'm going away for a long weekend, okay?
Next item's just a quick update on our septic law, really just septic in general. I will be meeting tomorrow afternoon with Mr. Ken Knowles that lives in Roussima, and Lindy Barnard and Darcy and David. Not that they have concerns, but they were both on with our lake inspections this year. So they want to further talk about that. I know they're gonna be coming to me about this letter we talked about to go around to all camp residents. Darcy's actively working on that now. Two things in relation to water quality on Lake Placid. First one is, I now, thanks to the mayor, I get reports every 2 weeks of the water quality updates that the village does. And one of the reports I get is the following of SARS and COVID on the incident rate based on per 100,000 people. It's pretty neat.
Okay.
We are in what's considered. Oh, I forget what the language is called. Anyway, it shows a slight increase. We go in and out of higher rates every few weeks, whether it's a higher visitor input that is infected or whatever. But it's amazing how delicate these reports are. We are at a rate of 50 out of 100,000 and have increased over the last 2 weeks. I've watched it over the last 6 weeks go up and down. Saranac Lake is in the same wave. Ticonderoga is in a downtrend. Could very well relate to heavier visitation in our tourists. We're not in any danger bacteria wise or whatever. That's good as far as septic in the lake. The other thing I have to report, Brad came to see me today and there's a break in the Roussima line. Down close to the lake, they're gonna dig tomorrow. Get a Band-Aid on it.
This is the one we were
New
exploring
section.
earlier.
This is where our engineering report is just wrapping up
Okay.
and grant searches are going out there to hopefully tackle this. This is virtually a mile of sewer line that runs right along Lake Placid. And aerial, and it's really old. So anyway, Brad's gonna keep me up to date on that. That was
They're
just-
looking at lining that, correct?
That's right.
Or is it too old to be
And-
lined?
And it's really our only option, because we can't even
It
access.
goes under some people's.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
okay, so it's the only thing, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Now, okay.
Well, what part of it was to the like, just bypass some pipes through.
Okay, so last item on the agenda,
Okay.
before committee reports. This is a signatory authority for the Lake Placid runway rehabilitation.
Yep.
And however you number them, Lori, that's up to you, but I know we made this 17, so we're probably gonna make it 18. I'd like a motion, whereas this is for the purpose of approving a signatory authority of the town supervisor to sign future runway rehabilitation grant applications for the Lake Placid Airport runway 1432 in 2024. Before you do that, I think I will give you the actual money. The federal amount at 90% is $1,826,923. The remaining 10% is split between the state and us, equal payments of $101,496. Making a total for the project of $2,029,915. With that, I'll take a motion to allow me to sign that grant application. Moved by Emily, seconded by Dick. Any further discussion?
After the roll call.
Okay, roll call, Emily? Jason?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
And I'm aye as well.
There's no expansion to this project, is there? It's just the same boundaries.
It's the same boundaries.
Okay.
Let's move on to committee reports, if there's any.
Are we going to do anything, this came up twice yesterday, I worked, so I saw some people.
You talking to people?
I think you personally is like the bigger.
Yeah, that's what most people said, most people that came in, they said, more people come in, they said, they're really straight from the bottom of the barrel today, so.
That's been my whole day.
So, anyway, so, asked about, we talked about in the court area, putting lights in. What's the
Oh,
status
yeah.
on that? Cause they're concerned, they wanna play pickleball in the evening.
Yeah, well,
Okay, I'm just asking.
no. Where's the money coming from?
You're the money guy.
Yeah, well.
He's
so-
already got attached.
First, here's what I wanna throw at you, with relation to the, pump track.
Hmm.
Now that we're in the $80,000 to $90,000 bracket with cannabis. That project fits what we want,
Yeah.
keeping kids busy, families
Right.
busy, the whole bit. I want you to tuck in the back of your mind that avenue.
Yeah.
To fill in the gap from 115 to whatever we need.
Right,
As far as lights go, I'm not opposed to lights, but we've gotta have a real serious, whether it's on timers. Because I'm not gonna turn that into a night party place.
no, but that's.
Because unsupervised, we're asking for trouble.
Yep.
So it would mean maybe we go till 9 o'clock, I
Yeah.
don't know, 10 o'clock.
I think
Lights
that-
out, but then it means securing the gates or whatever.
Yeah.
To date, we don't have a problem because it's dark up there.
Well, that's the thing, I was up there last night, we were driving around, and I went up about 10 o'clock at night. And everything's open,
Yeah,
there's no problem.
and I'm sure it's something we're gonna have to address.
Yeah, because I mean. The people playing pickleball are willing to play, into the evening, and they're doing it now because they have sunlight,
Right,
but they're willing to do the same thing
in the
in the
fall,
fall. but
Yeah.
They're running out of light,
uh,
and I'm not talking about, big stadium where it's.
no, but
Yeah.
like Kimball put in lights for us at the end of the hockey box where they were
Right.
saying there's shadows and stuff. He has lights that are rectangular that really spread.
Well, that's what I'm
wicked big.
thinking, I mean, we need one up there anyway for the parking lot. And if we can come to something with just whatever,
First, we need a transformer up there.
yes,
Because our power ends at our cabin.
Yep. Yep.
Does anyone play, is the volleyball courts have been utilized?
yeah, they are.
So that could be. Because sometimes those league nights that people like Mark had talked about in Tupper Lake, they go until late too, so.
Yeah.
I can see the viability for some,
Yeah.
but I understand Derek's point, we're like,
Oh, yeah,
what's the process of shutting it down?
I mean, the lights, when I researched for the toboggan chute, lights now are. You can put them anywhere, but you just have to have them downward facing,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And what about the airport? What are the regulations?
Right,
I know that's far enough back in the
that's probably
woods.
that, but that is probably far enough back, don't know, but probably far enough back.
And if they're downward facing.
Yeah, cause
but
that,
I think it's a good thought, I mean, certainly if there's interest in playing a little.
there is, I mean, I had two people come to me, totally, one in the morning, one in the evening.
Yeah,
And we were talking, they were saying how they love the pickleball courts, everything like that, and they said, well, we like to play into the fall in the evening. And it's gonna, you're gonna have lights out there?
all right,
Right after we start charging you to play out.
That's right, that's right. If we're gonna get that attendant out there anytime, that's right.
34%.
so how do you wanna move forward? You want,
I think we, whatever avenue you wanna do, but I think we should we wanna put cameras out there.
yeah,
We want, and there's, there's those on the poles.
yeah,
And whatever you think as far as the lights and, like I said, I think we need a regular light out there. streetlight for the parking lot anyway.
Only one?
You know how I think I'll
Well,
start?
Yeah,
I think I'll start with Kimball
okay,
for a basic plan on getting the ability for adequate power.
okay, yeah, that's what.
More than just pickleball lights and.
Oh, yeah, no, we don't, we want plenty down the road.
Because it'll mean trenching, and I don't know whether that means outside the fence or around the front of our cabin.
Right,
and over
right,
there.
yeah, because, I mean, if we, I'm thinking of like a ball field. We can also include the volleyball courts too, if we need to,
Right,
but at least the pickleball courts, I'll call them stadium lights,
Yeah.
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Are you thinking this fall, or are you thinking, talk about it, plan it through budget season and then?
well, I think it'd be nice this fall if we could do it. And we've got the funds, $33,000.
I think there's like other priorities at football right now.
Yeah,
Like, do we really wanna throw?
we're gonna get into that.
Yep.
A few minutes. Anything else committee report wise? All right, let's move on to budget adjustments. Kathy's been more than patient. You wanna pick it up, Kath?
Sure.
Your excitement your enthusiasm is noted.
I emailed them all to you last week. Did everybody get a chance to look at them?
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah, we did.
All right, rather than me read through them all, I'm just gonna ask if you all have any questions about them.
Well, I guess I see that in inset control, personal services. Went over budget by $5,500.
Right.
I take it that was solely just because of raising the pay rate.
Yeah, basically it was that plus the fact that he was fully staffed this year, which he hadn't been for the past several years.
Right,
And of course, when he has the returning employees, they make more. So,
right.
yeah.
So what we can expect next year, I know Craig is not coming back. But everyone's locked into the same amount next year. That's one thing. We made.
Okay, so that's a discussion that you're gonna need to have with John. Because that is not what John understands. He was not here when you guys made that seasonal rate. He
Okay.
said if you try to bring any of his employees back at $23 an hour, you will not have a black flag crew.
Okay, we'll tackle that. He's talking about coming back February 1.
So-
March 1 at the latest.
Right, so that's definitely a discussion for budget for next year.
Okay,
But overall, he very, very rarely exceeds his budget.
I
think
know.
this-
He's
This
one
is
of,
the first year since I've been working with the town with him as the department head. This is the first year that he actually went over his entire budget.
right,
So, I mean, he's really conscious about trying to keep within his budget.
however, I can take half the blame there because I talked him into bringing Dave Walker back to be a trainer for two of these young people that have never been out.
Right?
In the wilderness like these kids do, and they travel thousands of miles over the course of 2 months.
Yeah,
So I'm not disappointed at all at being over budget at that little amount.
I almost, well, I guess I have to have a conversation. I think he understands that like, his rationale is that the weather's changing, but his strategy needs to adjust. And I think fiscally that we should support,
Of
for the
course,
reason, whatever, to prevent what has transpired the last couple of years.
yep. Let's see. Park maintenance. Personnel services for seasonal are over by $8,000 already.
right. So that could be the way I have the staff allocated because I think 3 of the new seasonal hires I put in the same category as where Zach is versus say like in Showgrounds or in Craigwood or
Okay,
someplace else. But they're all still within the park district and there's an excess of funds in the Showgrounds budget. So overall, for park maintenance and the showgrounds, I think we're in good shape.
Okay.
My biggest concern would be reeling in the Craigwood budget because it is getting a little out of control for the workers out there.
And it's the personal services that's out of control or getting out of
With
control?
with Craigwood, it's going to become, because Craigwood is a seasonal venue that stays open. It can stay open till the end of October, depending on how good of a fall we have.
Right.
And so we're really only halfway through the budget with them in terms of time, but we're more than halfway through already in terms of dollar amount.
Grass will start growing slower, Kathy.
Yeah, we hope, right?
All right. Those were my only questions off of your budget amendments. Anyone else? Anything else you got, Kath?
There's no personnel that I'm aware of. So we're good with
No.
that, I think. Keep in mind that next month, I'm gonna be handing out the work papers for starting our budget to the department heads for them to fill out and get back to me.
Yeah.
So that time is coming right around the corner. We're gonna have to start thinking about scheduling meetings for October.
I know it. That's good.
Yep, that's all I
All
have.
right. Thank you. With that being said, I'll take a motion to accept budget amendments. So moved by Rick, seconded by Jason. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Kathy.
No one opposed, carried. Thanks, Kath.
Go back to your
Have a
direct.
good night, everyone.
You too.
No, folding.
All right, we don't have personnel actions. Has everyone signed the audits? Well, you will before you leave. Can I have a motion to accept the audits?
So.
Seconded by Dick. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries. We did person's opportunity to speak. I'm not gonna adjourn until we're done here in persons. Oh,
We have
I don't
persons.
have anything to say.
oh, I thought I asked
Yeah,
it before.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, well, now it's officially, this is
True, now it's.
if you want to say something, this is the time. Anything?
No, just a little disappointing that so many people come just for their issue instead of just to see what's going on in general.
We have a lot going on.
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's good to have you back in a minute.
Yeah, no, last month I had something going on, otherwise I would have come in, but I had to go visit some family, but
Yeah,
yeah, no, glad to be here.
well, it goes both ways. So now I get to kick you out because we're going into
That's what I thought was
executive
next, so.
motion to go on executive.
session. Can I have a motion to go into
I
executive?
won't loiter out there. either.
Jason, I don't know what I did. And it is 7:13.